Who are the people that come to my mind first? Well, I mean, Rob Zombie does come to mind a little bit because he did one or two songs and he did allow a couple of video games and movies to use his music with almost little to no cost. But that's more because I'm a Rob Zombie fan. Okay, what's the three that I think of where it's a more direct interaction, where it's music composed specifically for the game in question or the movie tie-in to a video game? Well, the very first one I think of is Clint Mansell. Okay, if you don't know who that is, he's done a lot of songs, Lux Antenna, through time and space, for just various movies. Clint Mansell is a really good musician. He worked with Nine Inch Nails to do "You Know What You Are" for the Doom movie tie-in, and he did a lot of that music. And Clint Mansell found the people at id Software difficult to work with. That's how he would describe it. He found them difficult to work with. He found the project itself to not be particularly hard. He just found that the people at id Software didn't really know what they were doing, didn't really have a music direction, and were just generally rude, belligerent, and hard to work with, as well as not very much too keen on actually paying on time. Now, that sounds pretty bad, doesn't it? Well, it gets worse. Yes, today we are going to be talking about the topic that you think we're going to be talking about. But the second artist that comes to mind is Neil Biggin. Neil Biggin did the soundtrack for a video game called Top Gear 3000. He did tracks like Cheetah, The Demon, the title main screen for the game. Really good stuff. I still listen to some of those songs on like Spotify, right? Neil Biggin is just a fantastic artist. Uh, I still listen to Clint Mansell and everything as well, and I still listen to some like the Halo stuff. Disturbed actually had one or two songs in the Halo franchise, right? So, those are some of the artists I think of. But the number one artist I think of when it comes to, uh, movie art tie-ins is Mick Gordon. Hello there. You're just joining in the video. Uh, Welcome in. So, we're talking about Mick Gordon, and for those that don't know, Mick Gordon did the soundtrack for Doom 2016. He also did the soundtrack for Doom Eternal. He did parts of soundtracks for uh, Doom 3 as well. So Mick Gordon has kind of a history of working with ZeniMax. He did music for Elder Scrolls Online. He did a lot of stuff like that, right? So he's a well-known artist. He's done a lot of music for things, right? He also did music for Wolfenstein. Now, this is where kind of our tale would begin chronologically, but not actually logically. So, logically, it would be better to start with Doom 2016. Okay? So, Doom 2016 actually was in development hell. Most people don't really know about that. Doom 2016 kind of had this issue of having third parties involved, but they didn't really have samples of the actual gameplay for the artists and third parties involved to actually do their thing, right? And so Mick Gordon, he's a really good artist. He's done all these really famous songs, Rip and Tear, for example, BFG Division. Uh, well, he doesn't know what the game is, and so he wants to contact, people at id Software and some of the other music guys and figure out like what is kind of the central theme of the music. Like, is it more dubsteppy? Is it more metal? Is it kind of like more traditional doom, like with the intermission of doom and stuff like that? Well, they pretty much tell them to fuck off. That's how they do. So the guy who's doing your music, who's really famous and is really good, you're gonna tell that guy to fuck off, essentially, right? Uh, and so Mick Gordon, you know, he starts kind of doing music for Doom Eternal, okay? And he's doing music for Doom Eternal and everything. Uh, and his name is attached to the game because he's really ultra famous. But he doesn't know anything about the fucking game, okay? Because they won't tell him anything, right? He has really good ideas. They shoot his ideas down, okay? Now, he gets to the end, and we're talking a crunch of like getting up from his computer to shit, shower, sleep, maybe even not sleep at all, and eat like a microwave burrito. That's a low standard of living. That is inhuman conditions to live, right? That's the kind of crunch he's on now because he's only learning about the game as the game is developed. Okay, and it's his job to compose music for this fucking game. And honestly, Doom Eternal is really not that great. Doom 2016 was way better. The only good thing about Doom Eternal is the music. Now, he gets through and he does not get paid for 10 whole months. Okay? He's supposed to be getting paid on a regular basis, right? But he doesn't get paid for 10 months. Okay? Most people, they can't leave. They can't live off of that, right? If you don't get paid for 10 months, you're homeless. Okay? That's the brutal reality of life. Mick Gordon, manages to struggle through and not get paid for 10 whole months. And on the 11th month, he finally does get paid. Does he get any kind of back pay? No. Was he legally entitled to back pay? Yeah, absolutely. He should have took him to court. But when you don't get paid for 10 months and you have bills and everything, you don't really have the money to fight back. That's another brutal reality. So this is where he's at, right? And he only gets paid for the work that he thought he was supposed to, get paid for, which is about an hour and a half of music. Okay, the game comes out, we get a hold of the game, and it turns out that it's not an hour and a half of music, which he was paid for. They actually use 2 hours and 50 minutes worth of music from Mick Gordon. Okay, so he should have been paid triple the amount of money that he was paid. And they don't really talk to him. He tries to reach out to him and everything. Like, he's legally obligated to get this money. Okay? And they pretty much give him the middle finger. So that results into him reaching out to Bethesda, of course, the parent company of id Software. And id Software, of course, has cut, like, just not even talk to him. They're actually demonizing him at this point. They're talking shit about him. They're blaming him for the delays, the OST, and all these things. All these things are not true. None of these things are his fault. So that's, by the way, that's defamation. That is defamation. That's illegal as fuck. And Mick Gordon, he gets in contact with Bethesda, and you'd think, the parent company would be a little bit embarrassed by this whole fiasco. No, they're not embarrassed at all. Okay, they're so not embarrassed that they have the nerve to basically try and scam him. Okay, and what it is because he did work in 2015 for Wolfenstein. All the music and sound came from him from Wolfenstein. And now here we are in like 2018, 2019, where he should have been paid for Wolfenstein. He still hasn't been paid. So Bethesda subsidizes the payment into a payment package for the OST Wolfenstein, which he already should have been paid for, and they basically make him take, a fucking serious pay cut. They basically screw him over, you know. And so the whole crux of this is it's this: id Software has a history of poor decision making when it comes to music artists. And the crux and point in my video at this point is I just want to point out that they have from, Doom, Doom 1 and 2, the very original games, they've stolen all that music. All that music is stolen from like Pantera and, Megadeth and other companies, right? It's just straight up fucking stolen. Okay. Uh, you know, so there's that. Doom 3, System of a Down was originally going to work with id Software, and System of a Down had enough of their shit and quit. And the people at System of a Down are some pretty cool, pretty chill people. Yeah, their music's mostly political, but they're some pretty humble people. So you have to be a pretty dumb fucking idiot to get System of a Down to quit. Then you got Clint Mansell, who's described id Software as difficult to work with, aggressive, rude, belligerent, not having an idea of what they're doing, not allocating the proper amount of funds. You have all those things. And then you have the whole situation of Mick Gordon on top of it. Where he's basically getting ripped off, he's basically getting robbed, he's basically being forced to crunch, he's getting zero communication. It is a whole fiasco nightmare. They're, just blatant defamation. They've dragged his name into the mud and the ground and the dirt. They've done all these horrible things, and they've essentially ruined his career, which is a shame because Mick Gordon is hands down one of the best video game musicians I have ever seen. Okay, he's, whether it was Far Cry Blood Dragon, because yes, he had a hand in that one too. Wolfenstein, Doom, Doom 3, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, all of the Wolfenstein games. Like, he's been around forever. He's a very humble guy, and Bathsheba was basically looking to get one over on somebody. This is a guy too, and here's the thing: is their only mistake was thinking that he would back down, and like this is a guy who learned like throat singing, like just to compose one song. Like he learned a whole new style of music just to work one song. So to burn over that guy and create all this drama is ridiculous. So from the very beginning with id Software, all the way to now, to today, they've had nothing but bullshit problems. They've done nothing but fuck with artists and basically rip them off. Okay? So, the reason why I want to point this out, if you're a musician, don't work with Bathsheba. Don't work with id Software. Completely fucking avoid them like the plague. They deserve the consequences of that, and unless you want to end up like Mick Gordon, uh, you know, it's not wise. The only way these companies are ever going to learn is when they lose money. That's the only time they ever care. So the only way they're going to lose money is if they have to do shit themselves. And let me tell you, Bathsheba, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They really don't know what they're doing. They don't even know what they're doing when it comes to programming their own damn games. That's why they're infested with bugs. That's why they're always incomplete. And that's why we have to wait years and years to get modding tools. They're not going to be able to handle music by themselves. Okay? So if everybody in the industry, in the music industry, just refused to do business with ZeniMax because of all of the problems they've had with id Software in general, they would implode on themselves. They would have to give, they would have to do better, they would have to become better people. Moreover, there's other companies, Ubisoft does some shady shit from time to time, but they've treated their musicians well. And that is one thing they actually have done well. So there are other avenues for revenue. Or indie devs, more than likely, are not just going to, pay you for your work, okay? uh, they're also going to share some of the profits with you too. That's how indie devs typically work. If you're a part of the project, yeah, you're expected to get paid and you're hourly and all that stuff. But indie devs are also like going to give you kickback and royalties when the game actually does well. If you don't believe me, go look on itch.io. You don't have to work with people like id Software to be a successful musician. And here's the thing, you're not going to be very successful when they scam you out of all of your time and money.